The Minnesota Wild have made another huge signing, this time going out with their number one prospect and signing Charlie Stramel to his ELC. We're going to be breaking it down, going over what this means not just this season for the Wild, but for the future as well. But we also have, once again, multiple updates ahead of tonight's game, including some more changes being made to this roster ahead of their playoffs. And like I said, we're going to be breaking it all down here in this video. Before we do get into it, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, be sure to drop a sub here on the channel if you want to stay up to date with all of your Minnesota Wild news throughout the remainder of the regular season, the last couple games, but also the playoffs. We're going to have a big video coming out very, very soon about this playoff matchup between what's going to be likely at this point, if not already 100%, the Dallas Stars. I think it still depends on whether it's home ice advantage or not, but we're going to have a long video breaking it all down. So if you want to stay up to date with that, be sure to drop a sub on the channel. But I want to get straight into this because the Minnesota Wild announced it, as well as Michael Russo, that Charlie Stramel has officially joined this team and signed his ELC starting next season. Now that's important because we knew he broke his ankle in his final game with Michigan State. First period, blocking a shot, just a brutal way to go out for, especially for someone who was set to join this team for the playoffs. But what matters here now is that this signing is official. He is not going to become a free agent, and like he said, he was not going to be becoming a free agent. He never planned on that being the case. But you see Michael Russo, that they closed him on the first round pick in 2023, 3-year, $3.25 million, which is $1.075 million on an AAV, a little bit more than an entry-level contract because of just the way that pricing works now and whatnot, and ELCs are just going to be getting more and more expensive in the coming years anyways. But with that broken ankle, it was determined that his return was not going to be this year at all, not even in the playoffs. And this is a pretty important signing because heading into the next season, we know he's going to be an integral part of this team. I mean, you look at his stats, you see what he's done for not just, the U.S. National Development Program. Not so much Michigan State. He was absolutely fantastic this year and last year, and it got him into a top 10 Hobey Baker Award nomination, and ultimately, did not in the top 3, but he certainly deserved to be in that conversation. And once labeled a bust, 21 years old, I think it's crazy that was still being put on him, but right now, the best opportunity for him is to get better, get healthy, with that ankle and recovery using the Minnesota Wild's assets. And now that he is officially signed to his ELC, he can and he will. That is the most important thing because heading into next season, he's going to play an important role on this team no matter where he plays. We know Yurov's going to be remaining a center. That's been the plan the entire time. Eriksson Ek, whether he jumps to the first line, whatever happens with Ryan Hartman, we still don't know about. Michael McCarron is a UFA. Nick Foligno is a UFA. There's a lot of players on this team that we do not know the status of, and I'm going to jump into those players here in a moment, but I want to touch on the sponsor of this video, Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 sports picking app, and they want to get you in on all of the action. Using the link in the comments below and the description, you can join there, sign up using the code DIGEST, and they give you a great opportunity to get in, like I said, on all of the action with every single sport you can pretty much imagine. And we're going to jump into my picks here in a few moments, but I want to get back to the UFAs, because we look at this, not even just the UFAs, but the free agents as a whole. The Wild have quite a few. Nobody really knows what's going to happen with Matt Zuccarello just yet. I think if he wants to return, the Wild will certainly offer him a contract. Vladimir Tarasenko, I don't see the Wild really wanting to get rid of him, but we still don't know how much, how many teams are going to be targeting him, I guess is the best way of putting it, because he is 34, a phenomenal season, especially being acquired for future considerations. Marcus Johansson, same thing, an $800K contract. I wouldn't mind bringing him back on that and a shorter deal, 1 year again, but there is still a lot of younger players here that are going to have some very important roles coming up, and, this is where it all comes down to for Charlie Stramel. With all of these free agents, we can kind of go back to the lineup right now here. You're kind of going with Eriksson Ek, Yurov, possibly Charlie Stramel. Hartman can play the wing. He may be gone. We just don't know. So this is going to be a big climb next season for Charlie Stramel. We know he's going to be here. We know he's going to be an important part of this team, and whatever happens, happens, but he, regardless of what happens, is going to be a big name addition for this team into next season. And I want to pull up a few quotes about what people describe his game as, because the way that his name has been thrown out there with a lot of these ideas behind the team, how they're going to play, they're all positive, especially considering how this Minnesota Wild team plays, how they operate. Ben Clymer here said this: he's going to be a mainstay in the NHL for a long time. You think of the size, the smarts, he skates well, he's responsible, his ability to, where you could go, depending on how the offense is going, slot in on the second or third line. He has a 200-foot nature to his game, feels more complete this year, and that was just how his season went. That was how we knew he was going to be ready with this season at Michigan State. Unfortunate ending, once again, but he was ready at this point. Any point throughout the season, he could have made his NHL debut, in my opinion, but it's just a matter of time until his season did end with Michigan State, and now it officially is, NHL time for him. So having him on that second or third line, regardless of what happens, is going to make this team, I really do think, a marginal amount better, and I'm super excited for it. And you see Michael Russo here when he's talking about in January. Charlie Stramel said that, I'm not going to read this all, but his name was in trade rumors. There was a lot of that. He could have become a free agent if he didn't sign. In, I can't remember exactly when, I think it was June or July he would have become a free agent. But now, he said he was going to sign. He held his promise, and he's ready to go with his hometown team. So I think this is a perfect set and a perfect kind of lineup for his career now with this Wild team, especially given the amount of free agents. So let me know in the comments below where you think Charlie Stramel will play with this Wild team next year. Do you think he may be a third-line center, a second-line center? Of course, you're off Eriksson Ek. I feel like are going to be the two that he's going to be going against up for that number one spot. I do think that Eriksson Ek really has that locked down for next season, but we will have to wait and see for that. But I want to go into a few updates ahead of tonight's game, and this one here, Bobby Brink is back in for Nick Foligno. Wallstedt is starting, and this is another chance we're getting to see John Hynes make some changes, make some alterations to this lineup to see what they want to do for Game 1. And we look at this lineup for the past couple of games. Foligno, and McCarron on that fourth line. I like it. But this is going to be a much different game tonight than like we've seen the past couple. Tonight is going to be a game where you want to show your speed. A team like Seattle is not necessarily the greatest team this year. They're not necessarily the most physical. So being able to power through on the offense is going to be something that makes a lot more sense for the Wild in this game. Makes a lot more sense that Bobby Brink would be better here than Nick Foligno. So kind of following the suit of the better team that you play, the more physical you want to be, the more skill you want to have, but this game, you just want your speed. You want to be able to get here, get another win, especially to catch up to Dallas. Now, before we do touch on the rest, wanted to go over my picks here tonight, and of course, where the Wild are playing, I got some Wild picks. I'm going more than 4.5 hits for Yakov Trenin. He's leading the NHL in hits for a reason. Guy's an absolute animal, and although you're not having your Nick Foligno in the lineup, it makes a lot more sense that you're going to see Yakov Trenin get a bit more physical here in this game. Hartman, I'm going more than half a point. I do think this first line is going to be very good tonight. I do think it's going to be one that you're going to see a lot of rotation here, especially given Seattle, how they play, and the final one, I'm going less than 20 and a half minutes for Kirill Kaprizov. Saying this because I do think, like I said, it's going to be a full round, a full couple lines playing here, and I do think it's going to be not just a first-line game. So let me know what you think about these picks. Once again, thank you, Prize Picks, for sponsoring this video. If you want to sign up, be sure to go download the app using the link in the description or at the pinned comment and signing up with the code DIGEST. It seriously helps the channel out a lot, guys, and I appreciate you guys for considering that. But I want to go into, the kind of the standings, where we stand with the last couple of games coming here. We're very close to Dallas, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very close. And this could be a matter of game-by-game situation where you're seeing not just this lineup change, but the standings as well. And the Wild are still fighting for that home ice advantage. And this is going to be an opportunity in this game, and more importantly, next game, to see that happen. I mean, we look at the standings right now, or the schedule, and we see, of course, Seattle, Dallas, Nashville, St. Louis, Anaheim. Some very, very important games, and games that I'm not too, sure what the lineup's going to look like. I know that it's going to be a game-by-game thing, but especially with Dallas on Thursday, there's a lot of things that are going to happen between now and then, and we got to see what this Wild team does, because Dallas, as of late, have not been necessarily playing great, so we're going to see how that all does play out. And It's going to be a matter of time until we figure it out. But ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have here in this video. And on top of that, we're getting Wallstedt here in tonight's game. We're going to touch on that a little bit more in a future video about what this matchup may look like when it comes to playoff time. But like I said, that is all I have here in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. I am signing out. And let me know down below what you think about this kind of movement next season with Charlie Stramel coming in. A huge addition right now. Super excited to see it get healthy. It's just a matter of time. But ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.